everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here, and this is Up From the Underground presents Football Week 12! With me, as always, are my two panelists, the man who loves the sound of the 1812 Overture in the morning, the notorious Mr. Beagle.
In underwear.
And speaking of underwear, the man who likes to surprise you in the middle of nowhere and demand a shrubbery in his underwear, Captain Shenanigans.
I'm sensing a thing here with underwear.
Yeah, underpants, gnomes, underwear, burritos, it's all good.
Burritos.
I love burritos.
Anyway, another very interesting week. More overtimes. 3 cheers for Colin Kaepernick. Who?
I reiterate, what the hell is a Colin Kaepernick?
You never said that before.
No, he didn't. There really were some great matchups and some very entertaining games. One of them in particular was definitely the Arizona-Atlanta game.
It was
That was
entertaining because it was sloppy as hell.
And what can be said about the Philadelphia-Washington game?
Nothing.
Yeah,
Embarrassment for the Eagles.
I'll tell you, a
overtimes.
huge surprise was the Jets-Rams game.
That was very surprising, I think, even for the Jets.
More surprising than the Houston-Jacksonville game?
No, I think Houston was just trolling us for 3 quarters.
Well, we'll get into Houston
Four.
later on.
Four,
that's for
yeah,
sure.
that's right. That was one of the overtime games.
Yeah.
The San Diego-Denver game, I think we're pretty much going to say that
Called it.
Peyton Manning is the man of the year. A little surprised by the Indiana... See, I told you guys that second half of that Colts-Patriots game, and you had pretty much what I thought was going to happen, and then all of a sudden the Patriots said, okay, now let's play.
Yeah, and I remember calling you a total idiot for picking the Colts.
Well, luckily
Yeah.
it wasn't one of the very few losses that I sustained this week.
It's one of the few losses anybody sustained this week.
yeah.
Okay.
We didn't have more than 3 or 4 apiece.
No.
Well, I definitely have to give props to myself for picking that victory of the Baltimore Ravens over the Pittsburgh Bumblebees. I mean Steelers.
Yeah, those things...
Dude, even
why
the,
do they do that?
Even the announcers had problems. No, not only the television announcer, but the stadium PA announcer had problems identifying who was on the field.
Some crucial injuries going into this week,
boy.
particularly Rob Gronkowski and Willis McGahee.
McGahee, they
What
said...
you talk about, Willis?
They put him on the able to return IR.
And not
Gronk,
the-
I don't think they put on IR.
Gronk
No,
is
they
going to be
didn't.
out for somewhere between 3 weeks to possibly a month.
Right.
Yeah, that's what they were
McGahee
saying.
will come back at the earliest AFC title game.
Yeah,
How
let's
about
say.
what's happening with Pittsburgh this week? I know that we were talking about this, Mr. Beagle,
Oh,
before we
Charlie
went on the air.
Batch.
The revolving door of ridiculousness.
Quarterback shuffle.
It's so sad. It's not even like, normally when you have quarterback battles, it's kind of interesting. You have like a veteran or a newbie, and you want to see what each is capable of with their offensive line and what they have. But this one's just sad on a long list of sad quarterback battles this year.
Yeah, and I think the most intense quarterback battle, because they were talking about it today on ESPN, was what's going to happen now in the San Francisco game. Are they going to use Kaepernick?
They're using Kaepernick. That's what Harbaugh said.
Yeah.
Now, do you
Yeah.
think that that's the right move towards this, or do you think that Alex Smith really could have just picked up the pieces and
No.
continued doing what he was doing?
Alex Smith, he has a legacy of being very bad at his position, and it was only last year when they got an offensive line and gave him offensive weapons that he succeeded. I still don't believe in the guy. His history is against him. I think Harbaugh is doing the right thing going with the so-called hot hand.
What about Arizona?
I don't really know what to say about Arizona. I know they were using their new quarterback,
Lindley.
Lindley.
Yeah, Lindley.
I
He
know there
was
was a D
named
somewhere.
the starter this week.
Yeah.
Well, I would too if I was using what I had as far as in the
But-
arsenal
Cold and
goes.
skeleton.
But, talking about the injury bug, very key player is coming back from injury this week.
Ah.
Beanie Wells.
Speaking of players coming back,
Plax.
That's
Plexico.
right.
You had Ocho Cinco, you had Terrell Owens. Out of all of them,
Randy
Plexico.
Moss is still
Oh, he's the
on
youngest.
Yeah.
And I have to say,
Moss is
I'm
on
happy
Niners.
for him because he sort of redeemed himself on that one season with the Jets. Still another strange thing for them to get rid of him because he kind of was doing okay for them.
He had to get his rhythm back, and by the end of the season, he did. You had a really good tandem of Holmes and Burris. Mind you, 2 ex-Steelers also.
I'm excited to
So-
see Plexico back. I think he's
Yeah.
going to really, do something for the Steelers
I
too
really
because
saw
they're
him
really
as a good player.
short-handed right now.
Yeah.
Although I still think that it's not going to do much unless they get Big Ben back. I'm telling you
Oh,
guys,
God.
watch Cincinnati climb the ladder. I really think so. You don't think so?
No.
Nah.
Well, we'll see what happens next week, shall we?
Yeah,
shall.
sure. I mean,
What about that thing that happened with Ed Reed? Do you guys agree with the fact that his suspension was revoked?
I don't think he should have been suspended. There are players out there that are being fined $20,000, $25,000. Yes, he is a repeat offender, but this is arguably the best safety in the league and has been for years. You don't become the best by playing, afraid to hit somebody for fear out of, a little money coming out of your wallet. I think $50,000 is excessive, and I think the suspension was very excessive.
No, I agree. The suspension, they should have never tried to hand down a suspension in the first place. And while he is a repeat offender, I can agree with $50,000 out of the pocket because, you've done it already. Let's, the rule changes. Let's keep doing what we've been doing before. I think it's fair up until a certain point. And it makes Goodell look like a schmuck.
It's not like he hasn't already been looking like a schmuck.
He's looked like a schmuck. He began all season as Captain Schmucko.
His respect has gone down the toilet, is what I'm trying to get at. Yeah.
Well, look, guys. There's no more bye weeks. We've got a full weekend of football. Lots of great matchups this week. And before we go into those, of course, Captain, station identification, run with it.
If you don't already know, and I'm assuming you do know, but I guess for new viewers / listeners, you're listening to Football Gulag.
Tally, everybody! 4 weeks and still going strong. Captain Shenanigans with the belt. Still pretty darn close, guys.
I closed the gap by 1 game, though.
So we right now have Captain Shenanigans at 97, 62, and 1.
1.
We have Mr. Beagle at 93, 66, and 1. And we have myself, the Lawn Gnome, at 91, 68, and 1. So we begin week 12 with a lot of matchups, and that starts off with our wonderful Turkey Day triple header.
Yo, I love Turkey.
3 games tomorrow, everybody. Yeah. Let's go with the first
Isn't
game.
It the second year they're doing a triple header? Third year.
Wow.
3 for 3, huh?
The Detroit Lions have been playing a home game on Thanksgiving since 1934.
Correct.
And the Dallas Cowboys have been playing a home game on Thanksgiving since 1966.
Yeah.
Only since 2006 have they added a third game, and it's been rotating. And our Jets, this is the second time our Jets have been on it.
Yeah, that's right.
Before we get into the picks, I must say something about this coming week. This is, I think, my week to climb back into the leader spot, and I'm going to be very bold with my picks this week.
Oh,
this is either going to shoot me to the top or sink me.
Good, because I've already got a stranglehold on this belt thing, and I really like this belt. It's pretty, and it looks good around my waist. I'm not giving it up easily.
Even if you win the belt for the season, I still might be able to watch you eat your shoe.
Yeah, me too.
Oh boy.
But the only thing that I can say about the both of you is that I think the captain is more willing to wear the burgundy suit and the mustard yellow shirt if he wins.
Burgundy. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I should point this out to everyone involved. Yes, I did say that I would eat a shoe, right, if the Cowboys won the NFC East.
Correct.
We didn't say what kind of a shoe, though. I vote a cake in the shape of a shoe.
I say he eats a
It was never stipulated what kind of a shoe it was.
He's got to eat one of his old flip-flops that he walks around in all summer.
Nope, I never agreed to that.
Well, we agreed to it.
We never agreed to anything.
We didn't agree to anything. We just actually... No. You said you would eat your shoe. A cake shaped like a shoe is not your shoe.
But if I bought it, I own it. Therefore, it is my shoe.
Well, I guess I'll just have to stick with you and make sure you don't buy it.
All right.
Let's talk about those 3 Thanksgiving games. Let's begin with the first game of the day, the Houston Texans versus the Detroit Lions. Guys, this is probably my favorite, the game that I want to watch the most that day.
Huh.
But I have no idea who I'm going to pick, so I want to hear you two speak about it first.
Oh,
really?
Texans?
Yeah, I really do.
No, seriously, the Texans are going to win this one.
I was about to say, how could you not know who to pick in this game?
Because I still think that both of these teams are somewhat real. I mean, look, the Texans are pretty much one of the real teams in the game right now. The only thing that I can say is after that game that they played last week against the Jaguars, I have no idea what they're going to do if they face somewhat of a decent contender. And the Lions are, even with the record that they have, a somewhat decent contender.
You want to slap him for me?
How am I wrong?
I don't think it's slap-worthy.
How am I wrong?
No, I don't think it's slap-worthy, but the obvious choice is the Texans. The Lions are a good team. They just happen to be shoved in a division that has better teams than them. And they have to play, 6 games against these better teams, which really shuts down their record. In their win-loss columns, the losses pile up because of that.
Not only that, but their games against conference teams.
Yeah, they're not
ruins their
particularly
chances
very
at like a
good at that.
tiebreaker.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're only one game under 500. That's not terrible for the year that they've had.
But it's not going to be enough to
it's not
beat
enough to beat
Houston.
the Texans,
I'm picking the
yeah.
Texans to win this game. Just for the pure fact that Houston is, for lack of a better word, a complete team. Even with that game against Jacksonville, so what? They still won. B, they didn't play badly. Matt Schaub had one of the best days for a quarterback had ever had. And you're a dick. And Detroit has no running game. Their offensive line is crumbling, and they're going to start a rookie left tackle, which is Stafford's blind side.
Oh, man.
And you think J.J. Watt is not going to notice? Even if he plays on the right side,
He's going to go scuttle around.
Yes,
that
he
way.
is.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, you've officially been punked. I now officially got you both to admit that the Texans are a team that is real, and I am standing by them all the way because they are my Super Bowl champion. Of course I'm picking the Texans. Are you out of your minds? Redskins versus Cowboys.
In keeping with his holy shoeness, the Redskins cannot ruin your day anymore because Seattle is not on a bye.
That's true.
And, the Dallas-Cleveland game was a wake-up call for Romo and Jason
Yeah.
Garrett. I think that Dallas will win this game. They've got a very good record on Thanksgiving at home throughout history. And despite RG3's record-setting day, he's not going to repeat it 2 weeks in a row.
I'm actually going to go with the Redskins in this game because you're absolutely right. It was a wake-up call, but when it comes to these two teams side by side, Romo's got much more pressure on himself than RG3. Plus, he's got a very weak running game. And I just don't think that they're going to have what it takes because RG3 really is doing whatever he can to make a name for himself, and he's really turned this team into somewhat of a contender, even though the record may not show it. I do think that they are going to really come alive and light up Dallas Stadium like wildfire, and I really think that they're going to take the Cowboys for one heck of a ride this weekend.
See, I don't think it's going to be as close as that. The problem with the Cowboys is that last week they played the Cleveland Browns and went into overtime and very nearly lost it. And it's a lot of thanks to that is due to Tony Romo and Des Bryant. Tony Romo's record during October-November is actually kind of dismal, believe it or not. It's in December when he starts shining when the Cowboy season is already over. He's not a clutch player, and right now the Cowboys are in a clutch situation. They have to win this in order to overtake the Giants, or even get close enough to take the Giants. And looking at how poorly Tony Romo did last week, it's really sad. And that was against one of the worst teams in the NFL.
Agreed.
And the Redskins are a much better team than the Browns. I think the Redskins are gonna go into Cowboy Stadium and not run circles around them, but give them a lot of fits. I think the Redskins are going to win it in the squeaker.
Let's talk about the last Thursday night game, which I'm happy to announce that I and the captain will be going to tomorrow night for free. It's the New England Patriots against the New York Jets.
Oh.
In MetLife Stadium.
See?
The disadvantage that the Patriots have right now is the fact that they've lost Gronkowski. Now, Gronkowski is one player that has really given the Jets, as the captain likes to say, fits.
Oh, yeah.
The problem is for the Jets as well, there's two major names that can also give them fits that are back now. Edelman and Hernandez is coming back tomorrow. They made the announcement that he is playing tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
He's still listed as questionable.
Yeah.
But based on how the Jets played against St. Louis, I have to say I was a little surprised.
I'll take that with a grain of salt, because the Rams' defense is absolutely terrible. There's nothing better for a quarterback in the Knipschitz than playing against the Rams' defense.
I just feel that there's a good chance that there's a better chance of the Patriots winning this game than the Jets winning this game. But I still feel that, like you said about the Cowboys, this is another crucial game. And I did say last week that out of all the games that the Jets will play for the rest of this year, this will probably be the one game that they will lose. So, again, as a non-biased person, as I did the first time around, I'd pick the Patriots, but as a fan, I would pick the Jets. I just don't know where I should go. You guys tell me where you're going, and then I'll figure out what side will be shown.
As a realist, the obvious answer should be the Patriots.
Exactly.
That would be the obvious choice. But I don't think this is a very obvious game. I think the way the Jets have been... With the way the Jets played last week, yes, even though you do have to take it with a grain of salt, it really gave them a sense of hope. Like, maybe they can turn this game around. I still feel like they have the undercurrent of this might be a wasted season. The Patriots, though, are without Rob Gronkowski. Wes Welker has been a non-factor this entire season. Aaron Hernandez, if he's in the game, won't be 100%. I'm going to pick the Jets on this one. And I know it's...
I don't necessarily think the Jets think that this is a lost season.
I think they can win this.
I don't think they feel this is a lost season. There's literally one team that they just have to keep following right now, and it's the Bengals. Because I still believe that the Steelers are not going to continue going forward. So
we'll see about that, but I'm picking the Jets.
Their hopes are still very much alive in a conference that is very weak.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Beagle, please jump into this.
Yeah, what do you have to say?
I'm just still reeling with the fact that you think the Patriots have a better defense than St. Louis. They don't.
They don't. And
How
what
does
is
St. Louis get factored into this conversation?
What are you talking
I
about?
never said the Patriots defense was good.
I don't think he did.
Okay.
Why did I say that?
Because you were comparing the Jets against the Rams, saying the Rams don't have a very good defense. The defense is awful. The Patriots are worse.
He was
but
just
that's
making
why
a
the Jets'
statement.
offense looked good, and that's why Mark Sanchez was off the hot seat for at least 1 week.
And that's exactly why they're going to do it again this week. The Jets are going to beat the Patriots in MetLife Stadium. Without Gronkowski, the Jets can stop the Patriots. The Jets cannot stop a very good tight end, and the Patriots don't have that anymore.
Yeah, the Patriots are going to have fits trying to do what Tom Brady does best and throw up the middle for those dippy little, 5-yard to 10-yard passes.
And finally, the Jets have a good safety squad in Bell and Landry that they can stop those little passes.
Great pickup.
The only thing that they have to do is they've just got to prevent Welker and Woodhead and Ridley. They can just stop them, which I think that they really can.
Well, like I
then
said
yes.
before, Welker has been a non-factor since the Super Bowl.
May I say something really bold? If the Jets win tomorrow, and by the way, I will go with you both and pick the Jets are making the playoffs.
Wow.
That's a very bold statement.
Because think about who they're playing afterwards.
I will say Arizona for one.
Yeah. Well,
Arizona, Jacksonville, Tennessee, please.
Tennessee could give them a run.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I will say one thing. Growing up, I was always told, playing sports, that you can let one person beat you. Don't let the rest of the team beat you. So, I grew up playing basketball. So, you can have their point guard score 50 points. As long as you don't let anybody else in the team score you're going to win.
Yeah.
Let Tom Brady throw those. But don't let anybody catch them.
That's a key...
I mean, I'll be honest, the Jets don't really have a good pass rush right now.
They don't.
But they've got a very good secondary, and their linebackers can move.
Yeah, that's one of their biggest strengths right now.
As long as they run the ball, limit Sanchez to 20 throws or less, they'll be fine.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, guys.
That was intense, guys.
Yeah,
I hope. Hey, look, maybe us being there will give them a little bit of luck. I've been to many Jets games, and out of I think 9 that I've been to, I think I'm 6-3 right now.
Oh God!
I actually have an under 500 record, so be glad I'm not going.
I'm completely winless in Jets games. I've only been to 2, so.
Anyway, comment, like, and subscribe because, guys, that was really intense for just 3 football games. So we're going to take a break from the picks, and we're going to go into our first segment, and we're going to go with a little, hopefully, some ranting tonight.
Yeah.
Yes! It's the return of the ranting Beagle, everybody. It's time for a little get on the boat and get off the goat.
Hello, this is Mr. Beagle, and in this week's edition of Get on the Boat, Get Off the Goat, we look at the highs and lows of Week 11. This week's boat is being boarded by your New England Patriots, who showed the world once again why they have won 3 Super Bowls in the past 10 years.
They cheated?
Well, they only won by 3 points, so...
Adam Vinatieri?
Yes.
Ironically, who was against them in the game?
So, everything worked for them. Even their defense. And I mean, when was the last time you heard the Patriots defense having, a spot on any show?
Ew.
So, kudos to the Patriots for finally showing up and delivering a crucial blow to maybe a playoff-bound team, but definitely a playoff-hopeful team. And this is going to be a huge bruise to their ego, quite honestly. But the boat goes to the Patriots. I really don't have to say anything, quite honestly, because it's just all there in black and white. Any box score you read on any website, any newspaper, the Patriots is the epitome of the offensive machine. The GOAT, however, actually goes to two teams.
Ooh.
What were you guys doing Sunday night?
I was sleeping.
I was sleeping too, but apparently there was a game being played in Pittsburgh.
Supposedly.
Yeah, with the way this game went, it could have fooled me that they actually did something. I love a defensive slugfest as much as the next person, but this game just wasn't that. It was two totally inept offenses that, for an evening, made the Kansas City Chiefs look good.
Yikes.
In their defense, the Steelers are a team totally infested with the injury bug on both sides of the ball, and are a team barely holding it together. Anytime Byron Leftwich is your starting quarterback, and now Charlie Batch, you should get, like a hall pass. The Ravens, however, have no excuse. Even though they lost Ladarius Webb and Ray Lewis, defense and special teams are not their problem. Once again, the self-proclaimed elite Joe Flacco, and I think you called him elite, Mr. Gnome, in our preseason show.
I did.
Looked totally ordinary and ran some of the most stagnant ball played this season against a depleted defense that Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, or Drew Brees or Eli Manning would have totally torn to shreds. Newsflash, Flacco, you are not elite. And now for my stat of the week.
Ooh.
And I gave the captain a little preview of this last night. The Philadelphia Eagles haven't won in a while. I'd like to name for you a few teams that have won a game since the last time the Eagles won. This includes the Atlanta Falcons, the Oakland Raiders, the Philadelphia Phillies. The last time the Eagles won was September 30th. The last game the Phillies won, remember, they came in third place and did not make the playoffs in the NL East. The last time the Phillies won a game was October 1st.
Wow.
So the Phillies have won a game more recently than the Eagles.
That's frightening.
How wacky is that? Seriously.
I am Mr. Beagle, and this was Get on the Boat, Get off the Goat.
Thank you for that. Comment,
Well done,
like, and
man.
subscribe. Let's go back to the games. We're going to go with the Minnesota Vikings against the Chicago Bears.
Okay, Vikings Bears. And in case you don't recognize my voice by now, this is Captain Shenanigans, y'all. I feel like this is going to be the game of the week to watch. Because right now, the Bears got embarrassed last week, and the Vikings were meh. So I feel like both of them this week have a lot to prove. The Bears are in second place because of the tiebreaker with the Packers, and right now they really want to prove that they still have it. Now, it is undefinable, as we all well know, but the Bears want to prove that they are still the team to root for, the still team to be scared of, despite not having Cutler. And if they beat the Vikings in a convincing fashion, that will prove to at least some people that they're still in the race, that they might even recapture the NFC North.
But do you think that that is going to be the case in this game?
I'm not sure, because the Vikings, Christian Ponder has been practicing this week. Now, his arm has been kind of flaky as of late, but the Vikings' running game has actually been okay. So they have that going for them. The problem is the Bears' defense, for the majority of this season, looks really good, especially against the run. I'm going to go with the Bears this time because I think they have more to prove. This is clutch time for them. This is do or die. And I think their defense is really going to pick up the slack after last week's embarrassment, and I don't think the Vikings are going to score as much as they want to.
Well, you see, here's my thoughts on that. I agree with you, but I just feel that the problem with the Bears right now is that their offense is very, very weak. While their defense will definitely keep the Vikings from putting points on the board, that's still not going to stop them from putting points on the board. And I really believe that Peterson, if there's one man that can get through that defensive line of Chicago, it's Peterson. I actually think that the Vikings are going to pull an upset, and I think they're actually going to beat them.
In Soldier Field.
I think it can happen.
Bold.
Mr. Peterson, meet Mr. Urlacher and Mr. Briggs.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bears are going to win this
That's
one. It's not even going to be close. That running game is not going to go anywhere on the Soldier Field turf.
Briggs
and
Urlacher
Tillman
are the
is going to
best.
pick off Ponder twice in this game.
The Oakland Raiders versus the Cincinnati Bengals. I will say this. The Bengals, we've been talking about them all season. They, unfortunately, just can't show how good they are because of their record. But are they a bad team? No.
I wouldn't say they're a bad team.
Absolutely not. And I really think that based on the display that Dalton and Green had last week, I really think that they are going to show just how real and how strong they are. And right now, they have more reasons to win this game than any other team that's playing this week because the Steelers are really weak and very vulnerable now. It's now time to steal their thunder. Bengals win.
You know, I originally picked the Bengals on my score sheet, but now that I'm thinking about it...
You just don't want me to be the same as you, don't
That's
you?
not true. It's week 12 coming up, and so it's the latter half of the season. Oakland's already out of it in the AFC West. They know that.
Oh, yeah. That's a lost season right there.
So what do the Raiders always do when they're out of it?
They basically ruin your day.
Yes.
Really? You're going to go because of that?
And,
Interesting.
well, I'm thinking now, because it's pointing in Oakland's favor. Because Oakland does ruin your day when they're out of it, and Cincinnati,
You have a habit.
recently anyway, doesn't come through when they need to. Captain, let's hear what you have to say. I'm going to go back and forth on this.
Okay. I'm going to pick the Bengals. Only because, yes, the Bengals' problem is that they're stuck in a division that has been ruled by the Steelers and the Ravens for a decade already. The Raiders are stuck in the AFC West, which has become a quagmire of ridiculousness. The Raiders have nothing going for them. They're still reeling from the terrible decisions they made 10 years ago. I just don't think the Raiders have it in them to go on the road and beat the Bengals when the Bengals are on such a hot streak right now. That's why I think the Bengals are going to win. Right now, they got the supposed hot hand. And the way that, like you had said before, Mr. Gnome, Dalton and AJ Green have established such a repertoire between the two of them. And I don't think the Raiders' defense can handle that. I think, despite the fact that the Bengals' defense isn't as good, the Bengals are going to score a lot on this poor, depleted, very slow and sad-looking Raiders defense.
As far as I'm concerned, I just want to elaborate before we let Mr. Beagle give his pick. I think that the Bengals have one of the strongest offenses in the league.
I wouldn't go as far as
I
that.
think they are
I'd rate them
Maybe
somewhere up there.
Somewhere in the top 10,
half.
but not in the top 5.
I'd say somewhere in the top half of the league, but...
I am going to pick the Bengals.
Ah, okay. I convinced
Solely
you.
on the strength of Dalton and Green.
They are.
I think that's
they're
a-
magic
yeah.
men. They are. You called them.
I mean, you've watched them the past 2 weeks. It's something...
Yeah.
It's
Well-
magical.
well, Mr.
And I'm not
Beagle,
trying to be...
You're the guy in the preseason that said that they were just going to be the ultimate 1-2 punch.
Yeah,
that's what you
that's right.
said. So why not pick them?
Because they weren't all that in the first half of the season.
Well, then let's continue with the AFC North and let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns. Is it wrong to possibly think that Cleveland can win this game?
Yes.
Yes.
Why?
Because they're terrible. Browns fans don't even believe in the Browns anymore.
Charlie Batch is better than Byron Leftwich.
By a lot.
I don't know what to say about this. See, it's all
That's
gonna-
another sad quarterback
The
battle.
game is going to depend on Batch. It's all on Batch.
And he's better than Leftwich. Leftwich has no arm. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh on this one because Cleveland is just not going to put... the defense is going to stop Pittsburgh a lot, but the offense isn't going to get anything done.
It's going to look like a very high-scoring looking hockey game or a normal baseball game, in my opinion. It's going to end up being like 7-6 by the end. And I wouldn't be surprised if it came down to overtime either. The Steelers are going to win because the Browns are terrible. And you know what kind of promotion the Browns are having at their stadium this weekend?
That day.
No. It gets even better. It is White Flag Day. Seriously. Ticketmaster is having a promotion at the Dog Pound where they're giving out inflatable flags with the Browns logo and name on them in stark white. That says something.
The X factors in this game, of course, are going to be Charlie Batch and the return of Plexico Burress. I am also going to pick the Steelers, but for some strange reason, I smell an upset.
Sorry.
That might have been the chips.
Maybe. The Buffalo Bills against the Indianapolis Colts. Beagle, you haven't opened with an opening statement. Go.
I don't really have any strong opinions about this game, quite honestly.
Why not?
Because it's two, in my opinion, mediocre teams. Both these teams are in the middle of everything. Mediocre defense, mediocre offense. They have some fantastic plays and some fantastic games, and yet other times they, fall apart. The Colts are better than Buffalo. They've had a tougher season, quite honestly. So I'm going to go with the Colts on this one. Home field advantage and all. I don't see either of these teams. A, I don't see either of these teams making the playoffs. And B, I really don't see either of these teams making a big splash for the rest of the season. I don't know. I'm very uninspired by this game.
I'm going to pick the Colts, too. Just because I remember a couple of weeks back where you were talking about how well Peyton Manning trained that crowd in Lucas Oil Stadium. And I agree. I still think the Bills are always the sad sack of the bunch when it comes to the season. And I just don't see them managing to win this game. I mean, oh, by the way, I completely forgot. Hey, Captain, how you Dolphins doing?
Oh, Jesus. Really? Really?
I had to.
That's below the belt that I'm currently wearing.
No, the Colts are going to win this game. The Bills are just going to keep falling into despair.
I have to agree with the both of you. The Colts have the home field advantage. They're slightly better than the Bills, but like Mr. Beagle said, they're both mediocre. And unless you're a fan of either team, you're not going to want to watch this. If you have the advantage of watching Red Zone, you will see very, very, very few instances of this game on the TV. So, Colts will win, but it's going to be boring as hell.
The Denver Broncos against the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not even going to go into details. It's Peyton Manning. He's atop of the AFC West. Playoff bound. Broncos win.
The Chiefs need Brody Croyle back.
Oh, God.
He's better than whoever the hell they're going to start this week.
I think the Chiefs will do better with Joe Montana.
Elvis Gerback with
boy.
his crazy hobo beard.
Oh, God, that thing was a hobo beard, legitimately.
But he wore it well.
I don't think you can write down the Chiefs winning this game for any of us, quite honestly.
Yeah,
Right.
It's Broncos all the way. Peyton Manning is going to further embarrass the Chiefs. I just feel bad for the Chiefs fans. I actually do.
Me too.
I don't feel bad for the organization at all because they dug their hole.
Who do you feel worse for? Chiefs fans or Bills fans or Browns fans?
See, I feel like Browns fans are kind of used to this because they already live in Cleveland.
Yeah, but Bills fans live in Buffalo.
Yeah,
Next to a barn.
That's slightly less embarrassing than Cleveland, I guess.
Well, where's more boring to live? Kansas City, Buffalo, or Cleveland at least is interesting because you can get shot anytime.
Kansas City's
Buffalo, you
awesome.
can go over the falls in a barrel. I think
Yeah.
Kansas City's a boring place.
Kansas
What do you have?
No,
Pretty-
dude,
Nah.
Kansas City's got some awesome barbecue.
It does have barbecue.
Yeah, but then you die with a coronary.
Hey, if you got to go one way.
Comment, like, and subscribe, and we're going to take a break from the picks. The captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt and no smoking signs. It's time for a little bit of lessons learned with Captain Shenanigans.
Folks, this is your captain speaking, and this is Lessons Learned for week number 11. First lesson of the day. Was it rude of the Texans to give the Jaguars hope? I mean,
Survey
seriously. Survey says, nah, it's the Jaguars. They should be used to being beaten up like this. It's just kind of sad. And on a further note, why did the Cowboys not play for 3.5 quarters? Seriously. Have you seen some of the... I can't even begin to explain how sad it was watching the Texans, who are supposed to be good, and their record proves it, give up point after point after point to the Jaguars. And then the Cowboys were just playing sloppy all over the place. I mean, Romo basically sat down sometimes on some plays in midfield and gave up. That's what it looked like to me. It's just kind of sad. And yeah, it might have been a little rude for the Texans and the Cowboys to give the Jaguars and Browns hope. especially when their seasons are just gone. They're done. Alright. Lesson number 2. Andy Reid likely to be working as inebriated mall Santa soon. He leads this whole abysmal pack of coaches on the hot seat, and it's just really sad. His coaching decisions have been abysmal, as the Eagles have been this entire season. Andy Reid has been quoted as saying he's not going to resign in the middle of the season because it would feel like a cop-out. I don't think it would make a difference because the Eagles are going to flop out and die mid-flight, blam, and not even do anything for the rest of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost every game henceforth. Okay. Lesson number 3. The Ravens win an ugly game. I mean, slugfest. Ugly? You just don't understand football, guys. That was the NFL's Alabama versus LSU, or something. And, of course, our last lesson of the week. I didn't have a whole lot to rant about, but Matt Ryan throws 5 picks last week. It's against Arizona, so it doesn't really matter anyway. In other news, some new random guy throwing passes to Larry Fitzgerald. Who cares? And that, folks, is your lessons learned. I'm your captain, and enjoy yourselves.
The captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign, and you are free to walk about the cabin. The Seattle Seahawks versus the Miami Dolphins.
Ugh, who wants to watch this game?
I
Seriously.
do.
I don't even want to do a coin flip.
We're going to see the resurgence of the Dolphins team in this game. I'm picking the Dolphins to win.
Really?
Really.
Why?
Pete Carroll does not have a good record coming out of a bye. And quite honestly, Seattle really isn't that great when they're not at home.
Actually, you got a point there.
It's a difference. Baltimore's the same way. They're not so great when they're not at home. And I think Miami is going to bring it all together for this one last shot at being a real team.
No.
What do you have to say?
I'm actually picking the Seahawks. Because
That means I'm going to win.
let me put it to you right now as to why. Because they are still trying to prove that they are somewhat of a contending team, because don't forget they do have a playoff spot right now.
Oh my God.
They're looking strong, and they looked very strong this entire season. Not as strong as teams like, let's say, Houston or Green Bay, but strong nonetheless. And I'm sorry, every single time I said I believe in Tannehill, he's failed me. Sorry, not this time.
But every single time you pick the Seahawks without a coin flip, they've done the opposite.
As a matter of fact, you are wrong, because I picked the Seahawks once and they won. The week before they went on bye.
Must have been El Nino.
This one I've been flopping back and forth over since I learned they were playing each other this week. This one's tough. They're both, in my opinion, mediocre teams. The Dolphins more so, but the disadvantage here is that the Seahawks are coming from the West Coast to the East Coast. And traditionally, teams traveling from coast to coast they don't do well. The Dolphins are at home. I don't think the Seahawks are used to this thing called sunlight. I actually think the Dolphins, like Mr. Beagle said, can put together one last game to win before it all goes to hell. So I think I'm going to pick the Dolphins.
It would be funny, though, if it actually rains in Miami.
Oh my God,
which it
that'd
does
be
quite
hilarious.
often.
It does. Maybe it'll do it for like a quarter.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay.
That would be
Interesting.
me. Let me explain why. Tampa Bay is looking pretty good. Atlanta, while they did win, did not look so good last week. Could it possibly be because of the fact that they are no longer undefeated, that some pressure might be getting to them for some strange apparent reason? At this point in time, unless the Saints, who are slowly creeping up, may actually take the NFC South, is it possible? Maybe, not likely, but yes. Tampa Bay wants to secure a real playoff slot right now. And can they? I think they can. And I think that this weekend they can win. Buccaneers.
Interesting.
I'm also picking the Buccaneers to win.
Really?
The Bucs are finally bringing it all together the way they should have last year with their roster. And Atlanta, you can only go so far when you're not at home and, commit so many mistakes before you lose.
Captain!
I think I'm going to disagree with you two guys, and I'm going to pick the Falcons. I don't think I believe in the Bucs that much. They've won some games, but have you really looked at their opponents lately? Nothing to sneeze at, to be honest. And I think the Falcons, the way that they've been playing the past 2 weeks, they've got to get their stuff together, because they've embarrassed themselves to the point where people are starting to whisper in the background about how, ooh, the Falcons might not be the real deal after all.
I think you just don't like Doug Martin.
What the hell is a Doug Martin?
Exactly.
You just wanted to make him say that.
Yes.
Exactly, that too.
I think the Falcons are going to pull it off. They're going to win. And they're going to practice, and they're going to practice, and they're going to practice. And avoid the mistakes, the blatant mistakes they've been doing for the past 2 weeks.
Titans versus Jaguars. Toilet bowl of the week, anybody?
Barf.
Actually, it may not be so bad, especially since I'm picking the Jaguars to win
What?
the game.
I'm actually doing the same thing.
Wow, for real?
And this is
Yeah.
not just
I thought that was
because
a surprise pick for
this
me.
is not just because that the Jaguars put up 37 points last week. It's because Chad Henne is in,
Exactly.
and I always knew he was a good quarterback.
Exactly.
He was in a quarterback hell in Miami all
But
those
that's
years. So.
one of the reasons why I'm picking the Jaguars. Chad Henne is good.
Yeah, and I just can't see. I just can't see there being two AFC teams with only one win.
Yeah, one's got to go down.
Yeah, or up.
Yeah,
I should
I
say.
think-
So
yeah.
Jacksonville will beat Tennessee.
I agree. The Jaguars are also home, and traditionally, not necessarily this season, but traditionally they're actually okay at home. While the Titans were never a very good traveling team. So,
Fun fact about this little game that we're talking about right now, this is the second time that I've picked the Jaguars to win this season. This is the first time you both have picked the Jaguars to win.
Yeah, I can imagine
Probably.
that. Yeah,
That's how bad they are.
they really
I
are
know.
bad.
Well, Blaine Gabbert's out for the rest of the season now,
Yeah,
so
they
we've
put
got
him
Henne,
on IR. So.
Yeah, but so is Laurent Robinson.
and Jones Drew is still
Well,
unfortunate.
they have that Blackmon guy, whoever the hell he is.
And Cecil Shorts. The Ravens versus the Chargers. Guys,
This is gonna be
the
ugly.
Chargers are...
Yeah,
The Chargers
no, I agree
are
with
going down, and Norv Turner is going to be looking for a new team next year.
The Chargers are Sarah Jessica Parker sprayed with a bottle of acid.
that. Ew.
Wow, how did you put those two together?
Dude.
Ugly and uglier.
Why?
Ravens, yeah.
I really think that San Diego is... I had such high hopes for them.
Well, so
Me
I think
too.
everybody did.
Including
They
Norv
look
Turner.
good!
They did look
On
good.
paper.
I'm guessing Ravens across the board here.
Yeah.
That's like a no-duh.
Yeah, there's like no reason to even talk about this game. Well, here's an interesting game. Let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers against the New Orleans Saints.
Sure, let's talk about it.
Okay.
I mean, again, Kaepernick obviously did good stuff, but then again, it's Drew Brees. We're going back to the Superdome.
Saints still have the worst defense in the NFL,
And they're
and
going
the
up against the
49ers have a
best.
decent defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
I'm picking the 49ers to win in the Dome.
I'm also picking the 49ers to win a dome. It wasn't you who said that the 49ers are like the Yankees.
Yes.
They win a lot, but they're boring to watch.
I said that.
Yeah, this is another game they're going to win. Not in a very convincing fashion, but they're going to do it nonetheless, I think. The Saints have the league worst defense. By a considerable amount. And even though they've been putting up a very big fight these past couple of weeks, the 49ers, I just think, are the superior team in this game. I'm still on the board about Kaepernick. I feel like, because we went through a similar situation last year with, remember a guy named Matt Flynn?
Yep.
And he looked amazing for the one game that he played. I'm not sold on Kaepernick yet because, like I said, the same thing happened last year, and it turned out it was the Packers' offense that was amazing and not Matt Flynn. So I'm not sure if it's Kaepernick or the rest of the 49ers offense that is being so dominant.
Guess what, guys?
Coin flip?
Yeah.
Dose now!
I'm torn.
Oh boy.
You've got, again, Kaepernick. He's a scrambler. He's a better-looking quarterback right now than Alex Smith. Drew Brees is Drew Brees. San Francisco has a great defense, but you can't deny how strong that New Orleans offense is. Who can win, especially when you've got these two teams facing each other in New Orleans? So another major plus for Breeze. Look, one way or another, Breeze is going to come out with the confidence of 1,000 quarterbacks. But as far as I'm concerned, I can't make the decision. Ike, you're going to have to do it for me. So, as always...
Do you remember how to flip a coin?
No. San Francisco is the away team, so they'll be heads, and we've got tails for the home team, which is New Orleans flipping.
Wasn't too bad.
Yeah, actually. Wow,
Saints.
really? Wow. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I really also feel
No, this is good. That just
but-
means he'll go deeper in the hole.
Let's just face it, guys. I'm never getting the belt this year. No
You haven't had it once?
No.
No, he hasn't.
No, I haven't.
You're only
just
a few
you
games
and me.
behind me.
Yeah,
No,
that's
we'll
true.
see what happens. The St. Louis Rams against the Arizona Cardinals. Another game that I'm really torn about, but not worthy of a coin flip, so you guys roll with it.
This one does not look good. Either way you look at it.
I want to go down.
Ugh.
For the rest of the 3 games, my picks might surprise you.
Okay.
So for this game, I'm picking the Arizona Cardinals to break out of the funk they're in and win a game. And I see their defense improving. They had a little bit of time to get a little healthier. They got Beanie Wells back. They got a new quarterback who showed some pretty cool skills, quite honestly, in Atlanta.
Literally.
Definitely think he's better than Scout. Not better than Cobb, but
Cobb
Cobb's
ain't
still
coming
hurt.
Yeah.
And they still have Patrick Peterson. I see the Cardinals pulling this one out.
Okay, I was thinking the Cardinals too. I really think that this time around, I don't think the Rams are going to do anything. I think the Rams are shot. I think that the Cardinals, because you know something, you take a look at how they played last week. They really rattled
sad.
Atlanta's cage. They really did.
Yeah.
And that's why I think there is still a teensy bit of life left in them. Will they be able to go and knock the Seahawks down a peg? Absolutely not. But I still think that they will at least try their best to end the season with a 500 record. So I'm going to pick the Cardinals for this one.
I had originally checked off the Cardinals. And then I'm like, they're both really crappy. Then again, the Cardinals last week showed some signs of life. And the Rams didn't. They looked completely lifeless, as a matter of fact. I think I'm going to stick with the Cardinals. Because the Rams' defense can make any team look like Super Bowl contenders, which they did for the Jets last week. And the Cardinals just gave the Falcons fits last week. And with the return of Beanie Wells, I don't think the Rams defense can handle a running attack, and especially with this new guy, Lindley. I think they might have enough juice to win this game.
Comment, like, and subscribe, and we're going to pull away from the picks one more time so we can go to my segment, as always, Hero and Bust. So we'll begin with the Hero segment. I have been praising these guys since last year, and now I think it's safe to say, competition or not, that the Houston Texans are the real deal. Go down the list. J.J. Watt, Andre Johnson, Ben Tate, Arian Foster, and the list goes on and on. In Week 11, however, the hero of their scary overtime victory was the quarterback, Matt Schaub. Schaub was 43 of 55 for 527 yards and 5 touchdowns. These numbers tied Warren Moon for the second most passing yards in an NFL game. Norm Van Brocklin still holds the top spot with 554 yards, a record established back in 1951.
I was going to say, it had to be pre-60s.
This team is coached well, they play as a team, and time again they have shown just how strong that they can be in this football game. At this point in time, I think it's safe to say we may in fact be seeing the Texans team in its 10th anniversary year end strong and head into the postseason with a possible Super Bowl appearance. And now for my bust. In memoriam of the great Kevin Clash, this week's bust is brought to you by the number 5. Why? At one point this team was 5-0. At the same time, their Week 11 opponent was also 5-0. The second 5-0 team, the home team I might add, gave up 5 interceptions in that game. And yet, they still won. Have you figured it out yet? This week's episode is also brought to you by the letters A for Arizona and C for the Cardinals.
Snap.
I mean, going 3-0 and ending up in the bottom is one thing, but 5-0? Every week since that climax, something just kept going wrong. loss of players, horrible play calls, and just flat out misstep after misstep. What does the future hold for this Cardinals team? I don't know. But for one thing, I have a feeling, much like this season has been, it will not be pretty. So let's go to the Sunday night game. The Green Bay Packers against the New York Giants. In MetLife Stadium, Eli Manning and his team coming off of the bye week to face what looks like an incredible Green Bay Packers team. Run with it, boys.
You first.
Packers.
Why?
Because the Giants are the Giants, and they're not going to start winning until the middle of December. You know, it's going to come down to the last game of the season against the Cowboys again.
Oh, boy.
So the Packers are going to make mincemeat out of the Giants. The Giants are not as strong as they were last year, believe it or not. I don't think they're going to make another run for it. The Packers will, though. They're going to go to 8-3 after this.
I don't think it's going to be a stomping. I definitely see Eli Manning being Eli Manning. But will the Giants win? No. The Packers are strong. They are one of the strongest teams in the NFL, and right now, with the Bears as vulnerable as they are, they're going to take the NFC North, and they're going to get one of the top spots in the postseason. Mark my words. The Green Bay Packers will win.
See, I flipped around a lot on this one also. I think the Giants have had a really tough time in the past couple of weeks. You know, Eli Manning has not been on his game, and that's what's been killing the Giants' offense. In a game as important as I think this one is, I think it's going to be a lot closer than most people realize.
Well,
I think it's going to come down to the wire, believe it or not. But who will win? The Packers by a field goal.
Came down to the wire last year. They
I
only
think
won by one.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I'm going to say right now, the Packers with a last-second field goal to win the game. It's going to be tough, and I think Eli is going to get out of his funk, but I don't think it's going to be enough to win the Giants a game.
Be careful with that prediction. Mason Crosby has only hit 5 of his last 12
he's terrible.
field
Did you
goals.
see last week?
Yeah.
It was I wanted to cry. It was so embarrassing.
He makes Billy Cundiff look good.
God, he makes... Ugh. Don't even get me started on kickers this week. It's
That's
unbelievable
for next
how
week's rant.
terribly they've been doing.
I'm going to be the great Karnak because I have a strange feeling that what's going to happen when I announce this game. The Carolina Panthers against the Philadelphia Eagles.
This is my
Sorry,
game. This is my game of the week, and I
I
am Mr.
have
Beagle.
to figure out as to
Damn it.
why.
Why?
You must defend this, Mr. Beagle. You must.
This better be
Because
convincing.
because Cam Newton will have yet another feel sorry for himself speech, and Andy Reid's job will be saved when the Eagles beat the Carolina Panthers for this week's Monday night game.
Question.
Yes.
Is McCoy in?
McCoy isn't. Oh, we don't know.
No, they're
Injury
not
report
gonna
comes
say
out
no,
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because if he ain't in, that's a big blow.
It is,
Yeah.
but the Carolina doesn't have enough to stop the Eagles.
Their defense is terrible.
Well, both defenses are not so
terrible.
good.
They're both terrible teams.
They're very bad teams.
It's giving
But
me
the
fits.
Eagles are going to come out on top. They desperately need a win, and this week they're going to get it against a Panthers team that also desperately needs a win, but they're not going to get it.
So why do you not think the Panthers will get it?
Because, you know, looking at that team, looking at Ron Rivera, I don't know.
terrible.
Something is missing there. There's a gap somewhere between the players and the coach. He wants to win. You can see he wants to win. You can see he knows how to win. But actually doing it, I don't know. You know, maybe it'll take a free agent signing. Maybe it'll take a different offensive coordinator. Maybe it'll take a different quarterback. But there's something missing in Carolina to bring this team together. If they find it, they're a 10-win team. They have the talent, but they don't. The problem is that they remind me of the Eagles from last year, just without the names. They have a lot of unknowns that are very good. They have actually one of the best tight ends in the game right now in Greg Olsen. He's a phenomenal tight end.
He's become a pretty big name, though.
He's a huge name. Fantasy-wise, he's number 2 behind TG.
We also can't count out Mike Tolbert, the pickup from the Chargers.
You know, they've got a 3-headed running attack that is fantastic if they can stay healthy. But
That's the
again, there's something missing. I don't know what it is. If I knew what it was, they could pay me money to fix it. But they just don't have it. And Philadelphia is going to capitalize on this opportunity and win.
Captain, please.
I think this is going to be another game that's going to be a lot closer than most people believe it is. In fact, I'm calling it right now. This is going to go into overtime. And it's going to be another one of those, everybody's going to mess up an opportunity to score at the last second and win the game. It's going to be sloppy as hell. But
I'll be pissed if this becomes a tie.
I actually would not be surprised if it was a tie.
It could be. It has a lot of potential.
It has potential to end up as a tie because both teams have so much difficulty scoring points. And their defenses are terrible. They're ranked, I think they're both ranked in like the bottom 5 of the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was absolutely true. And it probably is. Who wins? The Eagles by like 3 points. It's not going to save Andy Reid his job. It's not going to save the Eagles season. But it's going to make them feel good for at least 24 hours.
I'm just going to be safe because you both already done your picking, so I'm picking the Eagles. I just don't want to lose another
Snap.
one.
You know, I thought I was being pretty bold in my picks this week. You guys are agreeing with me with most of them.
Well, because it's
They're not really that bold, dude.
I don't know why you think that every single one of your picks is like so completely outrageous.
They're not that outrageous.
They're not outrageous.
Yeah.
Okay?
If you really think about it.
You want me to count the trifectas, guys?
Okay.
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12!
Oh!
Yes!
You're going to keep your belt.
Good for
Actually,
me.
no.
Yes.
Because there are 16 games. If the 4 that you and I... Wait, how many do the captain and I differ on?
Yeah, this I want to know.
You both differ on the Washington-Dallas game and the Falcons-Buccaneers game.
Well, I differ on everyone on that
Yeah,
one. So,
I've got a chance to claw back 2 games.
No, you're not.
So it looks like you're retaining the belt for a 5th straight week.
Yes.
Well, I
should keep the belt for the rest of the season just for that.
I am focusing on the Redskins game, I'm focusing on Saints game, and I'm also focusing on the Buccaneers and the Bears-Vikings game because the Vikings, I'm alone on the Vikings and I'm alone on the Saints. So and I'm very confident in those 2 picks, guys. I'm telling you the truth.
Well, I'll be very glad tomorrow because you guys will be at the game.
Oh, yeah.
I will be with my fiance at her family's house, which thankfully is a complete Jets house.
Hey.
So I'm wearing my jersey to Thanksgiving dinner.
All right.
Yeah. That wraps up Week 12, and what a fun week this was. I'm really excited for the outcome, and I'm ready for Week 13. So for this point in time, everybody, please comment, like, and subscribe to our wonderful show, Up From the Underground Presents Football on our station.
Football goulash.
So, on behalf of Captain Shenanigans and the notorious Mr. Beagle, I am the Lawn Gnome leaving you with a question. Out of the 3 games that we're going to be seeing on Thanksgiving, which one were you looking forward to the most? And I want to hear specifically from certain fans. I want to hear from Detroit fans, and I want to hear from Washington fans. And the reason why I'm singling out those 2 is just because of the fact that your teams are doing all right this year. I want to know your true thoughts. I am the Lawn Gnome reminding you all that actions speak louder than words. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Save the Drake!
Yodel.
Football!
Damn it! This program has been rated TVMA. For mature audience, so oh god.
Wow, well that's definitely a
With
lost
the-
cause for this show.